Hey guys, doing a little Sony talk. In today's topic, I want to discuss the new A7 IV, which is rumored to come out in October and only a few weeks away. And there's a lot of rumors going back and forth. Will the camera have this? Will the camera have that? Well, let's take a step back and look at what made the Sony A7 III so popular. What is it now, 3 years ago? Was the screen revolutionary? Not really. Was the viewfinder just phenomenal? No, they held back from the A7R series. Was the battery great? Yes, it was. They did give up the battery and the dual card slots. But what made the A7 III so popular and brought in so many other shooters from other camera lines wasn't the specs, it wasn't the screen, it wasn't the sensor. It had a 24 megapixel BSI, which is a pretty standard sensor. It was the price. You got a great full size, very ergonomic camera that was fully capable, did 4K, the burst rate was great, the autofocus was phenomenal, and professionals, wannabe professionals, consumers, it did it all for everyone at a price point of under $2,000. And that was the number one thing, in my opinion, the A7 III had going for it. It wasn't about the specs. It wasn't that it shot 4K, and yes, it had to shoot 4K, especially given 3 years ago. But it was the price that made it so popular. And with that perspective, with that lens, no pun intended, let's take a look at the Sony A7 IV. What does it have to be successful, to follow in the footsteps of the A7 III? And to me, it's still the price. Okay, the camera, will it have 4K 60? It should. I think it'll be a big letdown for many of the A7 III users, and I don't think people are going to upgrade unless it does, because they already have a great camera that shoots 4K, that has a great battery. So will it shoot 4K 60? I think it has to. Given the competition, who's the competition? Well, you got Nikon there, but the big competitor right now, if you look at all the specs, camera sales, as well as what other options camera manufacturers are offering, it's the Canon R6. It's $2,500. It shoots 4K. And that $2,500 was the release point like a year ago. So that camera's going to be around $2,000. See where I'm going with this. So Sony, instead of being revolutionary, they're not really revolutionary in anything. They're catching up to Canon, believe it or not. I mean, it's crazy even coming out of my mouth. They're catching up if they do 4K 60. And they're catching up if they do the other thing, which I think they have to do, is put a flip screen. The R6, Canon R6 has one. It's had one. It shoots in dual cards. It shoots video in dual cards. It's got phenomenal autofocus. So in order to compete with its prime competitor, which is the Canon R6, it has to have these three things. It has to have a flippy screen, and I think it will, considering a lot of the rumors said it will have the A7S III body. But, some people don't like it. If you're a strictly photographer, I get it. I have the Fujifilm X-T2, and for photography, I do prefer the conventional flip-down, flip-up screen. But for video, or I think more people are gravitating to like a hybrid shooting, video and photo, a flippy screen, hand down, wins. 4K 60, I already talked a lot about it. I think for a videographer shooting weddings or any cool slow-mo, I mean, that's kind of a standard. People want to slow down their video, and it sucks to have to shoot 1080 or pull out another camera to shoot a 4K 60 in order to slow it down. And again, given the competition, I think it has to shoot 4K 60. Not 4K 120, but 4K 60. And there's a lot of spec about 7K downsampling in 30 FPS. And I think it probably is right. I think maybe it's going to have some super crispy video in 4K 30. Still good, but not so crispy in 4K 60. And the other thing that's rumored is to have the same heat sink as the Sony A7 III, which is a phenomenal video camera. But the number one thing it needs in order to be successful, at least as far as camera sales go, and bring in other shooters from other camera systems, is the price. This camera is rumored to come in at $2,500. I think that's a pretty strong price, and it can come in for $2,500, and it will sell because you're going to get all the Sony shooters, wanting to upgrade the Sony A7 III, but you're not going to attract any Canon shooters. You're not going to attract, your competition, and that's the big impact that the Sony A7 III made is, I'm going to give it all the things that you need. Maybe not all the things you want, like the sharp viewfinder. And yes, they got to upgrade their viewfinder and their EVF or on the screen on the back. But given all of that, it's the price point. I think they're going to come in at $2,500, but I really think they should, if they really want to dominate, they take the A7 III, keep that SKU in existence for a little while. Instead of, I think, what is it, $1,800 now? Bring that sucker down to about $1,500 and put on the new Sony A7 IV with the specs I talked about, the flippy screen and everything. Come in at $2,000, shock the camera world, take more shooters from the other brands and just knock it out of the park. I think that's what Sony has to do to really kill it in October. So that's it, guys. That's what I think. I'd love to hear what you feel about this. Please leave it in the comments, and thanks for watching. Take care.